Hey folks, I'm your host BKP, and we're back. Good morning from the office. And this morning we're discussing the February 23rd, the night that Terry Silvers, right there on the screen, lost his life, injuring two others in a car wreck. Now that night, on Saturday night, Heather Segars called 911. And the 911 call on YouTube has been listened to 33,000 times.
Wow.
Heather joins us now. Heather, how are you this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I can't complain. Let's start with, let me ask you a couple questions before the actual 911 call. Now, before that night, how well did you know Terry Silvers?
I didn't know him personally. I mean, I knew him because I've lived here all my life. I've known the whole family. I've never, hung out with Terry, but I knew him. I mean, he was, everybody knows the Silvers. We've lived here all our lives. So that's how I knew him.
Okay, so you didn't really know him personally, but you knew him. In knowing him and his family, did you know the struggle that Terry had with drug addiction? Were you aware of that before Saturday night?
Yes, sir.
So you were aware that Terry struggled with drugs and maybe should not have been driving. Is that your thought?
Yes, sir.
Now go ahead.
But let me make something clear too. I'm a recovering addict too, so and I struggle still. So I feel for Terry and I feel for the family because I can't imagine what they are going through. This is just awful.
Now let me go through the 911 call that night. Where did you see Terry's white truck? And
go ahead.
Where did you see Terry's white truck, and when did you start following him?
I was coming from Hiwassee, going toward Young Harris, right at Aaron. Oh gosh, that auto store right before you get to Papa's Pizza in Hiwassee. It was right before there. I was in the slow lane and Terry was in the fast lane, and he came over on my side and about ran me off the road. And I just thought, well, maybe somebody might be texting or just wasn't paying attention.
Right.
And then when he about ran me off the road, he went on oncoming traffic and about hit a couple cars. And I knew right then something was wrong. So I maybe right at Papa's Pizza, maybe in between Papa's Pizza and the theater is when I called 911. And that's when I noticed he was all over the road and going on the oncoming traffic. And I was like begging them to please just help get him off the road before he kills somebody.
Okay, so you did call 911, and you were passionately asking the 911 operator to help try to get this guy off the road, and then you pulled into the corner store there at the bottom of Young Harris Mountain. Is that the corner store where you pulled in?
Yes, sir. He when when the law came out at the red light there going toward Hiwassee, Terry jerked into the Cornerstone, and so I jerked into Cornerstone behind him, and I told the 911 caller, I was like, there's the law right there. Where are they going? Well, they're going on another call. So Terry stopped, got out of his truck, and went in the store. And that's when he got out of the truck. That's when I realized I knew who he was.
And so you saw law enforcement. Were they following you and Terry?
No, sir. They were coming like from Hayesville to the red light, and then turn left to go into Hiwassee.
Okay, so now in the 911 call, you seem to beg with Terry not to get back into the truck. Were you able to tell? And I want to say this: I know professionally we're not law enforcement and we can't do any drug testing, but just in your experience, were you able to tell Terry was impaired and should not be driving, or were you just begging him not to drive because some kind of other difficulty that night? What did you see that you were begging Terry not to get back in his car?
When he got out and he was walking, and when he was staggering, and when I got out to talk to him, I did not smell alcohol on him, so I knew it wasn't alcohol. And I've always known Terry not to drink, so I knew it wasn't alcohol. I knew it had to be something else, but I don't know what it was, but I knew it was something. And he told me that he was okay, and I knew he wasn't.
So you continued to beg him not to get back into the truck and drive, and we could hear that on the 911 call. And then he pulls out. When did you hear the siren go by? How long had you heard the siren go by that he was still at the store?
Oh, I mean, I heard it as soon as Terry jerked into the cornerstone. I even seen I'm sure he's seen them. I seen the law coming before he got to the red light.
So do you think that's one of the reasons Terry darted into the corner store to get off the road?
I think so. I really do.
Now, obviously, when law enforcement and we can't make a decision of what they saw that night and what they were actually doing, but just in your thought, do you think when the law enforcement went by, they were able to see clearly Terry's truck and you there, or do you think they were just way too big of a hurry to notice a truck? Were you out in plain view to where law enforcement that went by to a call?
Yes, yes. With all the lighting around the stores, yes.
They could see in plain view that Terry's truck was sitting there.
If they couldn't see it sitting there, then they shouldn't be driving. Is all I have to say about that.
Okay, so you pulled out and continue to follow Terry towards the North Carolina line. And you were passionately saying he's going to kill somebody. We need to get him off the road. But the BOLO went out. The Be on the Lookout went out. Were you able to hear the dispatcher give the BOLO when you're on the phone? Are you able to hear that or not able to hear that?
Yes, I was.
So when the BOLO came out, did you feel the dispatcher was clear enough that, hey, this is Terry Silvers, we need to try to get him off the road? How clear do you feel the BOLO that went out that night described Terry's truck, Terry, and him needing to be off the road?
To be honest, I cannot remember. I do remember one time telling them the subject was Terry Silvers.
So you did tell the dispatcher it was Terry Silvers?
Oh yes, I did. As soon as I seen him at Cornerstone, that's when I told them who it was.
Okay, now you followed Terry into North Carolina, and was he weaving all over the road all the way into the state of North Carolina?
Oh God, yes. Yes, I counted six times from when he pulled out of Cornerstone. I counted 6 times that he about hit people head on.
And then when he got into North Carolina, he swerved over and hit this car head on. And I don't want to bring us back up, and I'm so sorry, but you're the one on the 911 call said it's too late, he's gone. And I also told him. I told y'all to hurry. Okay. All right. Well, let me double back a little bit now. Since the call has since you made that 911 call, have you been in contact with the sheriff's office? Have they interviewed you? Have they called and said, "Hey, we want you to come in and interview you"? I mean, has the sheriff's office contacted you in any way whatsoever?
No, sir. Not from Towns County at all. So, I have had one deputy from Clay County to message me on Facebook and ask me how I'm doing. Not any deputy or the sheriff from Towns County has asked to interview me, talk to me, or anything.
So nobody from Towns County Sheriff's Office has said, "Hey, we'd like to bring you in and just get you to tell us a little more other than just the 911 call about that night and what it was," nothing like that?
No, sir, they have not.
So you've not heard if they're doing any kind of investigation concerning that night?
No.
When did you become aware that Terry wrecked the night before Friday night on, is it Bug Scuffle? I hope I get that right.
Yeah. I found that out when I went to the memorial service when Mark told me.
Oh, so you were not aware that night that he had wrecked the night before?
No, sir, not till I went to the memorial.
Do you know, let me ask you really quickly, do you know Towns County Sheriff Deputy Greg Joseph? Do you know him?
I know of him. Yes, sir.
Okay. He is car 112.
Yes,
all right.
sir.
Since the accident, has anyone else contacted you? I mean, have you, there's a lot of social media. Have you experienced any threats concerning the 911 call? Has anybody, lashed out at you about the call and doing interviews? Have you experienced anybody putting pressure on you?
Yes.
And who would that be?
I would rather not say. You know what? I really don't care. I don't know. Chris Clinton, or the sheriff, I don't know if it was him or his wife Crystal, sent me a very nasty message, posted it on Facebook, but took it down. But
I do have a copy of that.
Okay, yes.
Did they? Now, when we say that, this is on Towns County Sheriff Chris Clinton's Facebook page.
Yes, sir.
It looks as though, what we're going to say is, it looks as though he wrote the message. He may not have.
I think it was her, his wife.
Your accusation is his wife. Do you mind if I read that?
No, you go right ahead.
Because I have that. I just wanted to make sure that this was really a message that you received. Heather Lynn Chastity Segars, I remember the midnight calls from your mama begging Chris to pray with her for you and asking about, and I guess that is somebody else because she's talking about Chris in another tense here. Chris to pray with her for you and asking about what happened to you regarding your indiscretions.
Right.
And to this day, both of you have patted him on the back while both of you stab him.
Exactly.
That's the message you received?
Yes, sir.
So your feeling is whoever wrote this feels you're stabbing them in the back about this call on that's 911 call that night?
Yeah. Yeah, because I have let it known, and I have voiced my opinion about the negligence of Towns County deputies of not trying to get him off the road, especially when the deputy drove by, and I know dang well he saw us.
Well, Heather Segars, I appreciate you very much. We're closing up at the 10 o'clock hour. I got a couple other things I've got to do before I finish up my show this morning. I can't is there any last word or anything you wanted to say this morning that you wanted to make sure that our viewers were able to hear from you before we go?
Well, I just want to tell the family, the Silvers family, and especially Tracy Stewart, that y'all are all in my prayers. I think about y'all daily. I know it's hard on them, and it's been hard on me. very hard on me. And I do want to say something about the post that you just read out. My past indiscretions has nothing to do with this investigation, because what I did in my past is my past, and I have messed up, and just like everybody else has. Nobody's perfect.
Thank you very much, Heather. I appreciate it. You have a nice day, and again, we hope that emotionally you can continue to try to deal with this. We know it's a struggle. Thank you very much. We got to go.
Okay.
All right, folks, before we leave
Thank you.
You're welcome. Before we leave the show, I just want to say this quickly. Okay, now, we will invite, we did not today, we will invite Towns County Sheriff Chris Clinton. When you mention somebody's name, it's only fair, and give him an opportunity to discuss. Now, he has chose other medium. His accusations that we're fake news is that he says he will never speak to us and that we're mad. We're not angry. We will give him the opportunity to speak, but he actually has used other media where he could say what he wants and not be challenged by that. And so we are going to welcome him on, and we're going to try to do that this week. We're going to send out, because we're going to do another segment. I'm not editorializing this today. I do think the Towns County Sheriff's Office does need to respond. And were you able to pull that? All right, I want to show you something, okay? And it's on a Facebook page, and then I'm going to explain it to you. Go ahead and play that for me. Okay, can they hear me? This is on Sheriff Chris Clinton's Facebook page, okay? This morning, this is on there. Now, as you can see, the post is from Crystal Clinton, which is his wife. Do you see that calendar? 9 a.m. start work, 6 p.m. finish work, 9 a.m. start work, all the way down through there? You see that? Okay, let me tell you what I think that is. Now, scroll down. I'm going to explain. Scroll down. Can you scroll down? Open up those, there it is. Now, no, can you get the two messages under there? There's two replies. Yes, Crystal Clinton right there underneath the gift that's scrolling. Okay, you see Crystal Clinton sent a message back. Welcome, yes, I wish that more than anyone, I was poking fun. Now look at that right there. I was poking fun, an inside joke. That happens, I'm not making an accusation, but that happens to be a calendar sliding by. Here's what my thought is at FetchYourNews.com is the inside joke, okay? We have asked here on FetchYourNews.com, we did an open records request for, and keep that scrolling across, we did an open records request for Sheriff Chris Clinton's calendar because we want to look at some things on his calendar. So we asked for his calendar. Miss Webb, in reference to your open records request, the office of the sheriff does not maintain a calendar for the sheriff. The sheriff's wife, which that's her name that made this post, Crystal, the sheriff's wife, maintains a family calendar that the sheriff appears on. The sheriff is the only person who can provide the information requested. It is estimated that the request would require 91.25 hours of the sheriff's time at the sheriff's hourly rate, okay, to perform the task. The estimate is based on retrieval and printing and redacting and scanning. There are an estimated 365 pages of material to be printed at 10 cents a page. The bottom line is, do you know what the sheriff, scroll up a little bit where they can see the scrolling calendar for a joke from the sheriff. Do you know how much they said if we would like to have the sheriff's calendar to look at? $709.93. So if I have $709.93, I can look at the sheriff's calendar or they can make somewhat a joke that I think might be targeted at us, maybe on Facebook. That's what we're dealing with, trying to get through this investigation. That's why he won't speak to us. We'll give him a chance, we promise. I'm your host, BKP. We'll be back tomorrow morning, right here, 8 a.m. Now, wait, go to Facebook, Team FYN Sports, to get ready for the best sports show in North Georgia.